You know, every once in a while, you get to stand in front of a car that doesn't just sit there looking pretty, it actually feels like it's staring back at you, daring you to turn the key. That's exactly the feeling you get with the 1964 Pontiac GTO. As the camera slowly glides along that long, sculpted hood, you can almost sense the attitude baked into the metal. This isn't just a classic car, this is a moment in American automotive history frozen in steel, chrome, and raw ambition. Back in the early 60s, Detroit was playing it safe, but Pontiac decided to bend the rules, maybe even break a few, and what came out of that rebellious spirit was something that would change performance cars forever. As we move closer, the first thing that hits you is how clean and honest the design is. There's no excessive flash, no overdone lines, just pure muscle with a purpose. The split grille up front has that unmistakable Pontiac identity, and when the light catches the chrome just right, it feels like the car is smiling, knowing exactly what it's capable of. Here's an interesting fact about this car that always blows people's minds. The GTO wasn't even supposed to exist. Pontiac was under a corporate rule that limited engine size in mid-size cars, but the engineers found a loophole. They made the GTO an option package on the Tempest Lemons, slipped in a massive V8, and hoped nobody at the top would notice. That quiet rebellion is exactly why enthusiasts still talk about this car with so much passion today. As the camera dips down and sweeps along the side profile, you notice how balanced everything looks. The proportions are spot on, with just enough muscle in the fenders to suggest power without screaming for attention. Those classic wheels fill the arches perfectly, and even standing still, the car looks like it wants to roll forward. Imagine seeing this on the street in 1964, surrounded by modest sedans and wagons. This thing must have looked like it came from the future. Pontiac wasn't just building a car here, they were making a statement, telling the world that performance didn't have to be reserved for full-size land yachts. Now let's ease into the interior, because this is where the GTO really connects with you on a personal level. As the door opens, there's that unmistakable old car scent, a mix of vinyl, metal, and history. The camera lingers on the dashboard, those simple yet purposeful gauges staring back like old friends. Everything is laid out with the driver in mind, no distractions, just what you need to enjoy the drive. The steering will feel substantial in your hands, thin by modern standards but alive with feedback. This is the kind of cockpit where you don't just drive the car, you feel every vibration, every pulse of the engine. Here's another little detail that makes this car special. Back in 1964, you could order the GTO with a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, or an automatic, and depending on your choice, the car took on a completely different personality. The 4-speed, especially, turned this thing into a street fighter. Picture yourself sitting here, clutch pedal pressed, hand resting on that classic shifter, waiting for the light to turn green. Even at idle, the car feels restless, like it's barely containing itself. And then there's the heart of the beast. As the hood slowly rises and the camera reveals the engine bay, you're greeted by one of the most iconic power plants of the era. The standard engine was a 389 cubic inch V8, and yes, that number alone was enough to make competitors nervous. With the right setup, including the famous tri-power option with 3 two-barrel carburetors, this engine was officially rated at 348 horsepower, though many believe it was making even more. Here's the fun part about that. Back then, horsepower ratings were often conservative, so this car was probably quicker than Pontiac ever admitted. When the engine fires up, the sound is pure magic. The camera catches the slight shake of the car as the V8 settles into a deep, confident idle. There's nothing artificial here, no electronic trickery, just combustion, fuel, and attitude. Rev it a little, and the sound hardens into a roar that sends chills down your spine. This is the kind of engine note that modern cars try to recreate through speakers, but they never quite get it right. This one is real, raw, and unapologetic. As we pull out onto the road, the camera follows from behind, capturing the way the GTO squats slightly under acceleration. You can almost feel the torque pushing you back into the seat. This car wasn't just quick for its time, it was genuinely fast. 0 to 60 in the mid-6-second range might not sound earth-shattering today, but in 1964, that was serious performance. More importantly, it felt fast, and that sensation is what made the GTO legendary. It wasn't about numbers on a page, it was about how it made you feel when you drove it. Cruising down the road, there's a surprising sense of comfort too. The suspension is firm but not punishing, soaking up bumps in a way that reminds you these cars were built to be driven daily, not just shown off. The camera cuts to a side shot as the sun reflects off the paint, and you realize how timeless this design really is. Decades have passed, trends have come and gone, but the GTO still looks right at home on the road. Here's something I love sharing with people who are new to this car. The 1964 GTO is widely considered the birth of the muscle car era. Before this, there were fast cars, sure, but nothing quite like this combination of a mid-size body and a big, powerful engine aimed directly at younger buyers. Pontiac's marketing even leaned into that image, portraying the GTO as bold, youthful, and just a little bit rebellious. They knew exactly what they were doing, and the public responded in a big way. As the camera moves back inside during a steady cruise, you notice how connected everything feels. There's no power steering numbness here, no isolation. The road talks to you through the wheel, the pedals, even the seat. This is driving in its purest form. You're not just along for the ride, you're part of the machine. It's easy to see why people fell in love with this car and never let go. Pulling over for a moment, the engine ticking softly as it cools, you can't help but reflect on what the GTO represents. This wasn't just a successful model, it was a spark that lit a fire across the entire industry. Soon, everyone wanted a piece of that muscle car magic, but the GTO will always be remembered as the one that started it all. There's a certain pride that comes with that, and you can feel it in every detail, every weld, every curve. As we wrap up the drive and the camera takes one last slow walk around, the GTO sits there calmly, almost innocently, like it hasn't just delivered an unforgettable experience. But that's the charm of it. This car doesn't need to shout. Its legacy speaks for itself. Whether you're a longtime enthusiast or someone seeing a classic like this up close for the first time, the 1964 Pontiac GTO has a way of pulling you in and refusing to let go. Standing here, listening to the faint echo of that V8, it's clear why this car still matters. It's not just about speed or style, it's about a moment when creativity, courage, and passion came together to create something truly special. The 1964 Pontiac GTO isn't just a car you look at, it's a car you feel, and once you felt it, you never really forget it.